But that tarmac meeting, let's go back to that moment. I mean, did that change the outcome of the election? Was that the moment?
Well, I think a lot of things changed the outcome of the election. Like there's that big Russian hack that rerouted Hillary Clinton's campaign away from the Rust Belt and down to places like Phoenix or up to Boston. And then there's that thing that made Hillary Clinton, when they hacked into her brain and said that we need to destroy the coal industry, we need to end jobs. There was maybe that Russian hack that caused Hillary Clinton to just completely ignore working class voters and instead go to all these special interest groups. And then there was the fact that after decades and decades, seeming corruption, never quite proven. Bill Clinton was maybe golfing in 100-degree weather down there in Phoenix, like you said. But the appearance of corruption finally caught up with Hillary Clinton, and she got in trouble. And she can't complain to Bernie Sanders and say, people like you, why can't you make them like me?
Well, no, because he gave her a pass. I'm sorry, Kate. You remember during that debate? I'm tired of hearing about your... I mean, he was willing to give her a pass on that.
Damn emails. Yeah, he gave her a pass on that, but she has very convenient excuses for everything. Everything cost her the election. Comey, the Russians, Bernie Sanders. The list goes on, and it's interesting that she says this had absolutely no impact on the election. How does she know? What metric is she using? What data or polling is she amassing so she herself can survey? Because maybe she needs more time to write a book so she actually has a foundation for making these claims, because right now she's just pulling things out of thin air that don't make any sense at all.
Really
and Bernie Sanders is right. That's what happens in politics. Sometimes people vote for someone else, and he's got that beautiful house on Lake Champlain, and I imagine he might have Hillary Clinton to thank for it, or at least, you know, it's the fruits of his labor.
But don't you feel like
a working class hero?
I feel like we, not you guys, but the bigger we is kind of missing the point here. If I was a leader in the Democratic Party, I would be looking at Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton and saying, you guys need to be hashing this stuff out behind closed doors, in private. What the Democratic Party,
though, when she makes claims in her book about him.
But my point is that if the Democratic Party needs to now be focusing not backwards but forwards, there's a general election coming up in less than 3.5 years.
But then she can sell books, Joey.
If they want,
they would. I think they would love to.
Can anyone tell me? This will illustrate my point. Can anyone here tell me who the top Democratic contenders are for the chief executive office?
Would say that he would be looked at
Give
as
me one
I don't know if he wants the job, but I think he would volunteer that. I think Nancy Pelosi, who calls herself a master legislator, would say that people might look at her for that, for her leadership. I don't know if that's the job she wants, but you bring up the key point. It isn't also just looking forward, but looking away from these guys. And fine, sit down, take several seats.
And they should be taking a leadership role in helping develop the next generation of Dem
but
leaders.
See, that's such a good point, too, because she has no desire to do it. There is nothing in her book or in any of these exhaustive interviews where she talks about the next generation, where she talks about mentoring people, or who might have some great ideas.